Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, October 6th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Monday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame. Up in overnight and pre-market trading right now, still an inside day to Friday's range. Friday with an impulse sell-off here. We were looking Friday here for any signs of failure. We got a big time rotation down. A little bit of a bounce here, and we have ourselves kind of an intraday key range here. So the boundaries of Friday's range are going to be in play today. There could be a fading of the edges with an upward bias still intact. This market still has relatively quiet price action overall. Even with this upward move here, this is relatively quiet price action here over a 3-week span, and that could lead to increased volatility over the next 1 to 3 weeks here, especially if we start to see some weakness. But overall, the trend remains intact. Pullbacks remain buying opportunities until proven otherwise, which means until major market structure is taken out, like 6,600 for example. We could drop as deep as 6,600 and still be a buying opportunity here, as this market has remained within a very bullish structure overall. It's going to take a big time reaction or rejection to really put in a top right now. Instead, this market remains in an uptrending fashion, and any pullback, like we said, into the pivot range below could offer another checkmark rotation higher this month as we edge higher and higher and closer toward that 7,000 level. All right, looking at the NQ here, and keep in mind this week here, nothing on the economic calendar on a Monday, so it could be relatively range bound again within Friday's range with an upward bias. But this week we do have FOMC meeting minutes on a Wednesday, and we have FOMC members speaking throughout the week starting Tuesday, and we also have Fed Chair Powell speaking Thursday morning prior to the RTH Open at 7:30 a.m. Central Thursday morning. And NFP non-farm payrolls, NFP is on the schedule again for Friday. We'll see if it comes out at that point. Again, heavy Fed week. Fed Chair Powell speaking Thursday morning, NFP on the docket here for Friday. And again, uptrending price action here out of the NQ. We did have some compression here with an upward break. That would suggest more upside price action here until we see some sort of major reaction or rejection. Again, with the upward push, how high are we going? Are we going to make it to a 26K target by the end of the month? As of right now, from the current low of the month, we have an upside target zone, high probability target zone for the month of 26K up to about 26.4. Again, if we were to see a little bit deeper of a pullback and then go, these targets would be downward revised just a hair. So we'll see what we get here down the road, but everything's still suggesting more upside until we see some sort of strong rejection. Now for the NQ, it also has a very important range from the previous session here to watch, and any failure to hold prices above that high could open up a rotation back into today's midpoint, today's VWAP, maybe into the previous session's mid as well, again, as this market may be developing a bit of a range at these highs. Looking at crude oil, this one's up about 1% right now. A push through the 61.45 level for the first time in a long while. This is a big deep push, and one entire trading day below that level on Friday. Here we're seeing a little pullback to start the week, but now showing some selling pressure off the highs. Is this going to turn into an inverted checkmark week down? Is this early strength here going to be met with selling pressure as bears look to defend into this strength for another rotation down? Again, to fail at 61.50 here would open up a likely continuation downward, and we're starting to get closer and closer to that 58.20 FOMC key level from May 7th. So again, still in a downward path here. Are we developing an expanding range down here? The answer is yes, we have been. So if this thing can manage to stay basically above 61 here, we have a shot to come right back into the range above as this thing continues to develop that expanding range. Again, beginning about October 7th or so, which is tomorrow, we come into a very bearish seasonal pattern for crude oil that lasts into December, into the middle of December. So any rally here from here on out could be an opportunity to sell this thing as we enter that bearish seasonal cycle. All right, looking at gold futures. Plus 1% right now heading into the broader markets. RTH Open still a highly bullish trend. We mentioned on Friday that this week could be a week where we finally get into 4,000. We had that narrow 3-day range, which was similar to this one and this one. And so Friday we mentioned that Monday could be a huge day for gold in not only Monday, but it could be a 1 to 3 day rally. So not only 4,000, but maybe up to 4,050 here as this thing stretches to the upside. We're still working higher toward that 4,000 target. Now that 4,000 target again comes by way of kind of a range forecast. That was the big time impulse move up with the pullback to the mid. So that 500 point range, once we broke through the top, was going to target a 500 point extension right there, and that is 4,000. However, this compression right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months in the making, and this has been basically a 5-week rally. And when you have that much energy over time, you can get a much bigger target than what the range forecast is here. So 4,000 may not be the end of this move. It's been 5 weeks of expansion after a 5-month compression. We could easily have more upside as this thing continues to drive north of 4,000. So again, how high do we go? Until proven otherwise, continuing higher, any modest rotation is an opportunity to push this thing up. And again, the recent breakout from the 3-day range opens up a 1 to 3 day rally here. That takes us likely into 4,000 until we start to see some massive rejection, some day one high. A day one high could be anything like what we've seen in the past, like this one for example. That was a good day one high. It remained the high for 5 months until we broke out. Something like that could put the short-term high in, but right now not seeing any signs of that. All right, looking at the YM. The YM is up about 0.25%. This one also had a big time move to the upside on Friday, a pullback to the midpoint of that key range, and now we have an intraday key range. It's not exactly Friday's total range, but it's close. It's about 800 up to the high of 300, so it's about a 500 point key range. We're near the center. We could trade anywhere within the boundaries of that range really today and maybe even into Tuesday as this market continues to be range bound with an upward bias, still flowing higher for the most part out of this minor compression, still within the overall uptrending structure of this market. Nothing really to slow this thing down at the moment as this thing continues to press higher. So within the range, sideways with an upward bias. Today's compression is significant. It's 27% of ADR, just 114 points of range. Been averaging about 423 points per day. So we could see new highs, new lows today, above and below the current pre-market range. So if we come down below, we could rally back up. If we come up, we can go back. It's a sideways with an upward bias, fade the edges until this thing really gets picks up some more volatility. All right, looking at Bitcoin, up 1.5% right now, new all-time highs, big time level to watch right here. It's been a massive stretch to the upside. This move right here has been significant. Look at the color coordination here. These are by G squats here. So bullish G squats, 1, 2, 3 on the way up. That's kind of a massive breakout move with that coloration, increased volume and flow to the upside. And I've been a little suspect of this move, not to the edge. You know, this is a move to the edge, but once we get to the edge, now what happens? Now do we fall back into the range below and across the range and remain within this large range? Or is this a moment where we finally see expansion and open up some upside into the next market structure above. This thing trades in 25-point increments, 25,000 point increments, that is. 125 to 150 would be the next market structure up. A midway point would be 137.5. So if we are going to transition through 125K, we need it to be a significant transition day where it basically finishes the day 128, 130, and then you need to see a follow through to 137.5 at the very least in order to suggest that we have fully transitioned into the upper market structure. Any pullback to 125 could be a continuation to 150. That's what the path forward could look like if we are going to see expansion for those of you that are quite bullish. If not, we're going to see another reaction up here like this that's going to bring us back down to the middle of last month's range, which is exactly kind of a trading range market would be like. So right now, explosive movement to the upside. But this has been strength within range, just like this was strength within range. And we haven't really truly seen real price discovery. That happens beyond 125. And that's not to say it can't happen, just we got to watch to see how it behaves here. Any major reaction over the next couple of days brings this thing back down. Fed talk this week could be very important for how this thing proceeds to the upside or perhaps pulls back into the range. So Fed talk will be top of mind here for Bitcoin. Looking at ETH, this one's up 1 1/3%, recovering the 46K level for now. 4600 level. 4600 right here has been an important level where this market just has not been able to find acceptance beyond. We've been beyond there, but we've rejected it multiple times. And again, like Bitcoin, we've had a pretty solid move up. Not quite as bullish as Bitcoin here, but we had a tremendous rally here over the last week plus. But every time this thing gets into 4600, we do see signs of rejection. Are we going to see that again here today? Again, the previous session's range will be very important. Inside day right now, but we could get beyond those highs, 4650. If so, that could lead to a little bit of a rotation back down. Still trending up. Still a little bit higher if we were going to get to the edge and perhaps test that edge, which could still bring back a pullback. But overall, this market has some good long-term upside ahead. What's going to happen in the near term? Very clear trading range developing. Can we get a breakout or do we fade back in? That's the big question to answer here as we head into the week. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out the rest of the week. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.